Antarctica is not just the coldest place on Earth. It is the most restricted, the most controlled, and perhaps the most misunderstood continent humans have ever encountered. Beneath its endless ice sheets lies a world no civilian has ever fully explored, a world deliberately kept out of reach. And deep under that ice, something was found that should not exist. For decades, Antarctica was believed to be nothing more than a frozen wasteland, a continent of ice, wind, and silence, a place with no ancient history, no lost civilizations, no human past worth uncovering. That narrative held strong until satellites began to see things they were never meant to reveal. In the early 2000s, while analyzing satellite imagery intended for climate research, scientists noticed something strange in East Antarctica. Amid the natural chaos of ice ridges and frozen terrain, there appeared a shape that did not belong. Sharp edges, clean angles, perfect symmetry. A geometric form standing out against millions of years of natural randomness. It looked unmistakably artificial. At first, the images were dismissed as visual distortions. Ice formations can play tricks on perspective. Shadows can lie. But as higher resolution imagery became available, the anomaly refused to disappear. The structure was massive, several times larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza, and its shape remained consistent from multiple angles. A pyramid, buried beneath miles of ice. Antarctica, according to official history, has never supported advanced civilization. It has been frozen for millions of years. No cities, no architecture, no reason for something like this to exist. And yet, there it was, visible from space, defying everything scientists thought they knew. Soon after, the images began circulating quietly among researchers. Something else happened. Access to that region became restricted. Data sets were altered. Public satellite views were reduced in clarity. Independent analysis became impossible. And the questions began. Why would a naturally formed structure resemble a perfect pyramid? Why would it generate such consistent geometry? And why would governments react so quickly to suppress discussion? Then came the heat signatures. Thermal scans of the same region revealed something even more unsettling. Beneath the ice, directly below the pyramid-shaped formation, scientists detected localized heat, far warmer than the surrounding ice sheet. Antarctica's ice is ancient, stable, and uniformly cold. Sudden pockets of heat are extremely rare, yet this heat source was persistent. It was not seasonal, it was not random, and it was not explained. Official statements blamed geothermal activity, but geologists quickly raised concerns. There were no known volcanic systems in that area capable of producing such focused warmth. And even if there were, geothermal heat does not form symmetrical, pyramidal shapes. The anomaly was too precise, too contained. Something was there. As interest grew, researchers attempted to request on-site exploration permits. Every request was denied, not delayed, not postponed. Denied outright. The region was declared environmentally sensitive, then strategically restricted, then quietly classified as off-limits. Antarctica is governed by international treaty, but certain zones are controlled with near-military authority. No civilian travel, no independent research, no questions. Those who pushed harder found themselves shut out of funding. Projects were canceled, careers stalled, silence followed. What frightened some scientists was not just the structure itself, but its implications. If a pyramid exists beneath Antarctic ice, then it must predate the ice sheet, which means it must be older than 12,000 years, possibly much older. A time when Antarctica was not frozen, a time when Earth's climate was radically different, a time that official history barely acknowledges. This opens a door history does not want opened. Who could have built such a structure? How advanced would they have needed to be? And why is there no trace of them anywhere else? Some researchers began connecting uncomfortable dots. Ancient maps depicting an ice-free Antarctica. Old navigation charts showing coastlines that should not have been visible for thousands of years. Legends from distant cultures describing a lost southern land swallowed by ice after a global catastrophe. These were not myths anymore. They were clues, and Antarctica was no longer just ice. It was a tomb. As more independent analysts attempted to study the satellite anomalies, online access to high-detail imagery became inconsistent. Certain coordinates blurred, others disappeared entirely. What had once been publicly observable slowly vanished behind digital fog. And then came the warnings. Unofficial advisories circulated among researchers. Stop asking questions. Stop sharing images. Stop pushing. Antarctica is not what you think it is, and some discoveries are not meant for public understanding. The pyramid beneath the ice remains unexcavated. No photographs from ground level exist. No official expedition reports describe its interior, because no one is allowed inside, but something about it continues to disturb those who study it from afar. The scale, the precision, the silence. Antarctica does not give up its secrets easily. Ice preserves, ice buries, ice waits, and whatever lies beneath that frozen pyramid has waited a very long time. Antarctica is not governed like the rest of the world. It exists under a unique international agreement that presents itself as peaceful and scientific, yet operates with a level of control rarely seen anywhere else on Earth. Certain regions are not merely protected, they are completely inaccessible. No tourism, no independent research, no explanation. The pyramid lies within one of these zones. Officially, the restrictions are about preservation. Antarctica is described as fragile, untouched, and vulnerable to contamination, but that explanation begins to fracture when compared to what is allowed elsewhere on the continent. Research stations operate year-round. Heavy machinery drills deep into the ice. Aircraft land and depart regularly. If preservation were the only concern, selective access would still be possible. Instead, the answer is always the same: no entry. This silence has forced researchers to look backward, into forgotten maps, suppressed documents, and ancient records that history prefers to treat as coincidence. One of the most unsettling connections comes from medieval maps created long before Antarctica was officially discovered. These maps depict a southern landmass with detailed coastlines free of ice. The most famous of these charts was drawn in the 16th century, yet it shows Antarctica as if it had been surveyed thousands of years earlier. River systems, mountain ranges, shorelines that modern sonar only confirmed in the 20th century, beneath kilometers of ice. The implication is deeply uncomfortable. Someone knew what Antarctica looked like before it froze. If the pyramid exists, it would mean that Antarctica was once inhabited, or at the very least visited, by an advanced civilization long before recorded history. A civilization capable of monumental construction, capable of understanding geometry, astronomy, and engineering on a scale we associate with later ages. But Antarctica is not the only place where this pattern appears. Across the world, ancient civilizations share sudden collapse stories: floods, fire from the sky, rapid climate shifts, a global reset. These stories exist in cultures separated by oceans and millennia, yet they echo the same warning. Something ended, an age of knowledge, and ice swallowed what remained. Antarctica may be where that age ended. Thermal anomalies beneath the pyramid continue to be detected, not spreading, not fading, remaining constant. Some scientists argue that such stability suggests an internal heat source, contained, regulated, and possibly artificial. This theory is never addressed publicly. It does not appear in official reports. What happens beneath the ice stays beneath the ice, but the pyramid may not be empty. Subsurface scans hint at internal chambers, hollow spaces within the structure, voids that do not align with natural ice caverns, patterns consistent with rooms, corridors, possibly something sealed inside. If those scans are accurate, then the pyramid is not a remnant, it is a container. This raises a disturbing question: what was important enough to be buried under miles of ice and protected by one of the most restricted zones on Earth? Some theories suggest knowledge, records of a civilization erased from history. Others suggest technology, something too dangerous or too disruptive to be uncovered. And then there are the theories no scientist will say out loud: that the pyramid was not built by humans. This idea is dismissed publicly, yet quietly explored in private. The precision of the structure, its alignment, its apparent age, and its isolation raise doubts about conventional explanations. If humanity existed in Antarctica before the ice, it would rewrite history completely. If something else existed there first, the implications are far greater. Antarctica has no indigenous population, no oral histories to contradict or confirm these ideas. It is a continent without witnesses, a perfect place to hide something forever. And hide it they have. When modern researchers attempt to discuss the pyramid openly, their work is labeled speculative, unscientific, dangerous to public understanding. Grants disappear, platforms close, silence returns. Antarctica remains locked away behind layers of bureaucracy, treaty law, and ice. But ice is not permanent. Glaciers shift, temperatures rise. What was once buried will not stay hidden forever. The pyramid beneath Antarctica is waiting, patient and unchanged, while the world above argues about climate and politics. Perhaps that is the true fear, not that the structure exists, but that one day it will be impossible to ignore. Because when the ice finally recedes, the questions will return with it. Who built the pyramid? Why was Antarctica abandoned? And what else lies beneath the frozen continent? Still sealed, still watching. Antarctica is not empty. It is quiet, and the pyramid beneath the ice stands as a reminder that some chapters of human history were not lost by accident. They were buried,